Hey everyone, it's Alexei Uzas here from Exile Accelerator. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 books that I think every filmmaker should read. Before I get started, I want to let you know that spots have opened up for our Producing Accelerator program that helps filmmakers consistently finance and produce their films. So if that's something that you're interested in, you're going to want to stick around until the end of this video. And if you like this content, subscribe to our channel and hit the bell to be notified when we post a video. The first book on my list is a book called Mastery by Robert Greene. And this book is really for any filmmaker or artist or really anyone that's in a field where they want to become one of the best in that field and they want to create work that outlives them. Because what this book does is it takes you through the exact stages that you need to go through to master a craft. And it does that by taking you through examples throughout history and showing you how some of those great masters throughout history have gone through those various stages and how you can go through those various stages yourself on the way to mastery. And for me, the reason that this book is so great is that it kind of teaches you that more important, or just as important as this path to mastery, is the fact that you can make that path really unique to yourself. So you can take the experience that you have, the skill set that you already have, the knowledge that you have, and you can find a niche within a field and really make that specific to yourself and unique to yourself. And I think that that's a really interesting way of looking at this kind of notion of being the best at something. It's not just that you have to be the best, like the best filmmaker. You can be the best filmmaker making social realist films or horror films, or maybe there's a particular theme that you want to explore. And so what this book does is not only does it break down the stages and the kind of the stages of evolution that you need to go through as you go on the path towards mastery, but it shows you at each stage how to apply your own uniqueness to that stage and really develop a craft that is unique to yourself. So I highly recommend this for anyone that is in this for the long game and wants to make work that is some of the best work that is out there in the world and can outlive them. And I also highly recommend it for anyone that's kind of trying to make sense of where they're at right now. You might have a goal or a vision of where you want to get to, and you're kind of wondering how you're going to take all the experience that you have so far and kind of implement that and allow that to help you get to where you need to go. This book will really help you make sense of those things, and it'll give you that kind of that roadmap that you need to move forward in the right way and on the right way towards mastering a particular craft or a particular field. The second book is a book that likely needs no introduction to filmmakers, and it is Rebel Without a Crew by Robert Rodriguez. And this book was written, I think, almost 30 years ago. And I would say that the lessons and the principles that are taught in that book, or that are spoken about in that book, are just as applicable today as they were back then. And so anyone that is familiar with the book will know that it's about Robert Rodriguez's experience making his debut feature film for around $6,000 in Mexico. And it's an incredible story, and it shows really what's possible when a filmmaker is absolutely determined to make a film. And it also shows you how you can be so resourceful and how being resourceful can actually lead to creativity. So having these budgetary constraints can actually lead to creativity in the filmmaking process. And the reason that I think it's so good is because that lesson of being resourceful and having that attitude of being as resourceful as possible is something that really you can take with you throughout your entire career. Because no matter what the budget is that you have, you're always going to want to make that budget work for you, and you're going to want to stretch it as far as you can. So by learning these principles and adopting this attitude early on when you're making films, I think is really important, because it is something that you can carry forward into your next projects. And so if you haven't read this book, I highly recommend it. It's pretty much one of the only filmmaking books that I read before I made my debut feature film. I had never been to film school, so everything I learned was just learning it practically, right, on set. Other than I think this book, like this was the one book that I read before I made my debut feature, and it really helped me get into the right mindset and the right mode to make that film happen. So the third and final book on my list is a book called Daily Rituals: How Artists Work by Mason Curry. And this is a book that I recommend to every filmmaker and every artist that I work with. And the reason for that is that it does a great job at demystifying things like motivation and inspiration and needing some external force to produce great work. It also demystifies the notion that artists kind of sit around and just wait for creative inspiration before doing any work. So this book takes you through countless examples of the greatest artists and thinkers throughout history, and it shows you what their daily rituals and their daily routines were. And by doing this, it really shows you that by creating a rigorous daily routine or a daily ritual, these artists, basically they worked on their craft day in, day out, and that's what allowed them to create great work. And in some ways it even goes back to the first book that I recommended, Mastery, but it gives you the detail, right? So it kind of, you snapshot into, well, what does a day look like? Right, for one of these artists who are trying to create a great piece of work. And I love this book as well because it kind of shows you that it's different for everyone. Like no artist or none of these great thinkers throughout time had exactly the same routine. They found something that worked for them and that was particular to their life circumstances or their lifestyle. But once they had that routine, or that ritual, they applied that rigorously day in, day out. So I highly recommend this book for anyone, any artist, any filmmaker. It's really going to help demystify that notion of, just needing creative or bursts of creativity. This will teach you that really discipline is a critical or a crucial part of being able to create great work. Okay, so that's it for this video. If you have any other books that you recommend to filmmakers, then I would love to hear what those books are in the comments below. And if you've read any of the 3 books that I've mentioned in this video, let us know what you think about those books and if you found them useful. Of course, if you did like this video, hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you can be notified when we post a video. Now, as I mentioned earlier in the video, spots have opened up for our Producing Accelerator program, where we teach filmmakers how to consistently finance and produce their films. So if you're interested in joining that program, you can set up a one-on-one call with either me or a member of my team by heading to the link in the description. And we'll be talking about your project, working out exactly where you're at with it, where you're trying to get to, and if it's a good fit for you to join the Producing Accelerator program. Thanks for checking out the video. If you want to continue to up your filmmaking game, check out these videos next.